Now, Mr. Trump was also crisscrossing the battleground states this past week, but he lacks the sidekick star power of the Clinton campaign. Trump stops this past week, a big trade speech in battleground Pennsylvania. He was in Ohio as well, echoed the trade speech up in New Hampshire. But look at this. All three